My name is Liz Warner, and I recently completed my Run to Reach mission, which was to run 30 marathons in 30 countries before I turned 30. This is Women Beyond Borders on Euronews Travel. I only started running 9 years ago. It was actually soon after my father passed away suddenly, and it really became my coping mechanism going through this heavy grieving period. It was the hour or few hours of my day I could reflect on life and sort through a lot of emotions. I signed up for my first marathon, never having really run a real race before. I worked very long hours, and so I would train from like 10 p.m. to midnight or 1 a.m. at least 4 to 5 times a week. And so it just became this moment that I most look forward to. Ultimately, whenever you finish a run, you'd come out feeling more empowered and strong and free, and that's what I love most about running, and especially training for marathons. Finishing that first marathon, it gave me this surge of confidence I've never experienced in my life. Up until that point, I never really felt like I was good at anything. And suddenly, whenever I would tell people, oh, I'm doing this marathon or that marathon, I felt really proud about it. Crossing that finish line, you also realize how many hours you put into training, how many negative thoughts you needed to sort through to convince yourself you could do this. The idea literally just popped in my head, what if I ran 30 marathons in 30 countries before turning 30? I was 28 at the time. I had a year and a half left. I had just gotten married. I didn't particularly enjoy my job at the time, and I just felt really ready to jump into some kind of crazy, life-altering adventure. I definitely had my doubts. Is this really something I should be doing? Also, around that same time, I actually got offered a job at a company I really wanted to work at. And so I think it was really this big point. Do I take the safe road and take this job, or do I take the more precarious, risky route that was very uncertain? I had no idea what would come out of this project, but in my gut, I knew I needed to do this because I would regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't at least try. I also felt really ready to do something that impacted the world outside of my own personal bubble, and the idea itself really started to take shape once I paired this big idea with partnering with women-focused NGOs in each of the countries that I'd be running in. When I was first choosing the countries and the marathons I would run in, I chose countries that I selfishly really wanted to travel to. A few months into the actual project, I had some truly incredible experiences working with some of the NGOs, and I decided to actually scrap all of the countries I originally chose, and I ended up going to Afghanistan, Mongolia, Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, some really, really interesting countries that I personally knew very little about. Traveling to these countries, experiencing the different cultures, the food, all of that was absolutely amazing, but I think it always comes down to the human connections that you have in any one place. I've learned so much about myself and others along the way, just listening to their stories, all the people I got to meet over the past year and a half. Before doing Run to Reach, I was always doubting myself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I taking the path that I should be embarking on? It's just good to remind yourself that life is incredibly messy and uncertain, and you just need to do what feels right for you at any one point. There's never going to be the perfect time to do anything quote unquote crazy, but I think you do need to listen to your gut and your heart, and while there may be something big preventing you from saying yes to this crazy idea that you may have, you can at least start to brainstorm ways on how to make it work. When I said yes to Run to Reach, I I literally planned only 2 to 3 months into the project. I was like, okay, I'm just going to see what I can do and figure it out along the way. When you're sort of hustling, it also forces you to be more creative. I would challenge yourself to think out of the box, come out with some crazy solutions, and you'll never know what doors may open along the way. Travel is surrendering to the unknown, shedding any sort of routine to which you normally adhere, which allows you to gain a deeper understanding of your truer self that you didn't even know existed.